All right, YouTube. Well, this is going to be my first gun review here on YouTube, so please bear with me. I'm by no means an expert. I'm just an enthusiast, a hobbyist. I've been plinking with my grandpa and shooting tin cans since I was a small child, so that's really my frame of reference. I don't want to purport myself to be a law enforcement officer or a member of the armed services. And so I have not undergone the sorts of rigorous training that a lot of people have. So my opinions are not based from that point of view. So, bear with me. But I think a lot of people entering the shooting sports these days are civilians, and I'm a concealed carry permit holder and a responsible firearm owner. And I learned that from a very young age with my grandfather, and I'm really grateful for that. And so, you can take whatever I say with a grain of salt, and I know a lot of you guys out there know a lot more than I do, and so please feel free to educate me and the other viewers in the comments, or follow up videos or anything, and I think we'll all appreciate learning something new from the more knowledgeable folks out there. But at any rate, I just a couple weeks ago purchased this nice looking Taurus revolver. Safety checked, of course. Nothing in the cylinder. Not loaded. It's a Taurus Model 94, chambered in the 22 long rifle, or actually I'd say the 22 rimfire, because it can shoot a 22 long rifle or a 22 short, all equally well. And I got it primarily as a training aid for my primary concealed carry piece, which is a Smith & Wesson Model 442. Again, safety checked, empty. And this has a Crimson Trace laser grip on it, which you just actuate by squeezing down here, and it's a really nice feature. At this point, I don't rely on it at all. I use the sights for what they are, and it sights and shoots very well. But 38 is not cheap to shoot, so I went and got this 22 snub-nosed pistol. It's very similar, except for it's not. This is an air weight, so it weighs like 14 ounces, and this weighs, I want to say 23 or 24 ounces, because it's an all-steel frame. But it feels nice in the hands. And I'd seen some, mixed reviews on it, but everybody has their own opinion on the internet, and haters are going to hate, and so I always try to judge things based on my own data points, and this does feel like a quality firearm that will give years of service. And so when I first got it home, I put maybe 100 rounds through it. All I've shot at this point are the cheapies, the Remington Golden Bullet value pack. They're 36 grain brass plated hollow points, but they're not especially powerful. They're not especially fast. They're very run-of-the-mill. No failures to fire in the revolver at all during that time. Took it home, broke it down and cleaned it. Well, I also do want to mention that before taking it out and shooting for this first time, like a lot of people suggested, I took the side plate off, cleaned out all the cosmoline, lubricated it then again with some Hobby's Elite gun oil, just a light coating on the mating surfaces, and buttoned her back up. And did that prior to my first time out shooting. Then, of course, came back after the 100 rounds and cleaned her up, and spent a good long time, because a lot of you might not realize, but a revolver with 9 shots in the cylinder, that's 9 barrels plus the actual barrel that you have to clean every time you clean your gun. And so that was a lot of cleaning. I had not anticipated that as much as my semi-auto weapons. You just have the barrel to clean, and then a little bit of the frame. But that's neither here nor there. I really do like wheel guns, and 9 shots is a lot of fun. But I took it out today to go shooting and got 1 cylinder through it and a partial cylinder through it after that. After which, that point, the cylinder would not lock up, or the trigger pull. You can't pull the trigger, and the hammer would not go back. I'm not going to try to force anything, but it's just very bizarre. And I've heard some things about Taurus's reliability. My grandfather has a Taurus 375, or 357 Magnum rather, with I think a 6-inch ported barrel, stainless steel. It's a really nice revolver that's given him no troubles, and it's one of his favorite to shoot. No problem, even with that, powerful cartridge. And then here the little anemic 22, which doesn't really, it's got no bark, no bite. And this heavy of a firearm, you can hardly tell you're shooting. So I took the grips off today, and after I got back from the range, and let me just take the side panel off here and show you guys something. Again, this is just my data point. Less than 100 rounds through it, and I was pretty skeptical of all the negative, YouTube reviews, and because there's also some equally positive ones. I know that Hickok 45 has a video of a Model 94, and he was impressed with it. It seemed. I don't believe he had put a lot of rounds through it. Oops, at that point. But so then pop the side plate off. All right, so there you have it. Let's see if I can't get us a little bit closer into the mechanism here. Let you see a little bit more what I'm talking about. So that's the insides of a Taurus Model 94 chambered in .22 long rifle. And one of the features of this gun, like a lot of modern revolvers, is this piece right here, which is labeled in their manual that it comes with in the exploded diagram. That's part number 3032, which they describe as the transfer bar. So that little piece's job is to transfer the energy, the momentum of the hammer as it falls forward to the firing pin that then hits the rear of the rimfire ammunition, igniting the charge and setting the bullet flying out the barrel. And so this transfer bar, it's also a safety feature of it's not generally up in a position where it can transfer the energy to the firing pin until after the trigger has been depressed so far. So it's a sort of a drop safety essentially, so that generally if you were to hit the back of the hammer when you dropped it, it could not transfer any energy or momentum to the firing pin, and therefore it could not detonate the round underneath the hammer until the trigger had been pulled and the transfer bar moved up into a position where the hammer could slap it into the firing pin. Well, in this case, you can see that firing pin, it's kind of stuck in there. In fact, it can move up and down freely. And there's even down here a little piece of metal. There we go. You can see right there, that piece of metal that moves. This firing pin ultimately, at the moment, this is not the way it's supposed to be. Can just come right out. And I don't know if you can see it, but there is an obvious metal fatigue break right there. That's the surface. You can see a little bit of polishing or peening where it was striking the firing pin, but nothing too extreme. But for some reason or another, that piece of metal felt enough fatigue that it broke, was just floating freely around in the works there and preventing firing of the firearm. Without it in there, it sort of cocks sometimes, but again, it would never be able to transfer the energy of the hammer to the firing pin. So it's a completely non-functional pistol. After 100 rounds, 22 long rifle, and thorough, decent cleaning. So that's that. I'm curious to know what everybody else's reliability histories have been with this firearm, because I'm not very impressed at this point, frankly. And I'm gonna send this back to Taurus as soon as I'm able, and see if they will warranty repair it for me. I'm gonna leave the free-floating transfer bar in there. I'm not gonna monkey with the mechanism anymore. I don't want to cause any wear and tear by just trying to demonstrate the problem or explore it further, since I am not a gunsmith and I do not want to cause additional difficulties for the gunsmiths at Taurus when they go to repair it. And I hope they do. I'm going to contact them first thing on Monday and see what repair options they have. All right. Well, that's definitely a tight fit. There we go. The fit and finish on this gun is not quite as nice as my Smith & Wesson. For instance, this transition between the side panel and the frame, you can feel a lip there, whereas on the Smith & Wesson, it feels like glass. You cannot detect any lip or change in the surface depth on the Smith. The trigger on the Smith it's a double action only, of course, because it's the 442 model with a shrouded hammer. But its double action only is lighter and smoother than the Taurus. But the Taurus does not have a bad double action trigger, and its single action trigger is very nice. It's very, very nice. It can be a little difficult to pull the hammer back, but I've got a fairly strong thumb, so I didn't notice any pain from either my firing finger or my thumb when cocking for single action throughout the 100 rounds that I shot. So that's that. I got this gun at Sportsman's Warehouse for $320. So it seemed like an okay deal. It seemed like exactly what I wanted in a firearm or a training tool. To train for my primary carry weapon, which is that snub-nose 38, which I really do like. I'll do a review of that sometime. But Taurus, you've let me down. I hope that you make it right. But as of right now, I'm not really a giant fan of the Taurus branded firearms, and I've had some cousins of it, so to speak. I've got a Bursa Thunder 9. Made in Argentina. This is made in Brazil, and the Bursa has been a wonderful gun. Never even a hiccup. Never a failure to fire. Failure to eject. It's been a wonderful gun. So I was hoping the same from this Brazilian manufacturer. It's a nice looking gun. The grips are very comfortable. It shoots very well. That sights nicely. When it's shooting, it was very nice, but as you can see, even with it closed, the cylinder just rotates freely and the works are messed up. So I will do a follow-up review whenever I get it back from Taurus and let you all know the resolution of this situation. Happy shooting and stay safe.